Developing a continuously variable transmission for Fendt tractors has always been the dream of Fendt engineers. The first documents on this can be found in the Fendt archive from around the mid-1950s, so already 70 years ago. Richard, what documents and field reports have you found in the archive on this?
Yes, there are still a few reports on that matter. The first ones date back to 1956. There were at least 3 test tractors in use, some for extended periods, over 2,000 hours. And one of the test tractors has actually been preserved, which is this Farmer 3 Hydrostat.
And as we have now discovered, it was exhibited at the DLG exhibition in Hanover in 1964.
Yes, it was something very special at the time, but it wasn't completely finished yet. So it was exhibited as a prototype, but not yet available for delivery.
How did things progress from there, and what was the decision within Fendt's development regarding this area or this topic and project of the continuously variable transmission?
Yes, the tractors were in use, and the drivers were overwhelmingly impressed with how the vehicle operated. According to a report from the Lager-Lechfeld farm, all the drivers preferred the continuously variable transmission over all other tractors. They no longer had to clutch, just move the steering column lever forward or backward, and that was it.
Good.
The Farmer 3 Hydrostat has a hydraulic drive with so-called internal power splitting. It's a really great idea. It was very fast, hence the nickname Silver Arrow. But with this design, the entire control had to be put through a rotating drum, and this led to frequent breakdowns. The tractors had to be repaired, and they were out of service for long periods. And above all, the fuel consumption was about 25% higher than other tractors. In the end, did the continuously variable transmission project with the Farmer 3 Hydrostat fail due to efficiency?
So there was a period of quiet in this area until new ideas emerged later. It was definitely the first public appearance of Fendt's continuously variable transmission in the 1960s, and then things picked up again in the 1970s.
Exactly.
Hans Marschall, a brilliant and extremely persistent engineer at Fendt in development, was able to convince the right people of his ideas at the right time. Richard, how did the development of the continuously variable transmission progress in the 70s?
The initial experience was actually the Hanover Fair in 1970. Hans Marschall was an engineer in machine tool construction at the time, and in this role, he attended the Hanover Fair to check out the competition. However, as a die-hard Fendt enthusiast, he always kept an eye on the experiments with continuously variable tractors. At the Hanover Fair in 1970, Volvo from Sweden showcased brand new hydraulic units with a large swivel angle of 40 degrees. That's when it clicked for Hans Marschall. With this large swivel angle, he saw for the first time the possibility that a continuously variable transmission could actually achieve the efficiency of a manual transmission. He then independently developed a concept. We can see that here as well. He adopted the power split from the Farmer 3 Hydrostat. However, he combined it with these new hydraulic units from Volvo. 3 identical units, 1 as a pump and 2 as hydraulic motors, with the pump installed longitudinally and the hydraulic motors installed transversely. He then presented this concept to Hermann Fendt. Hermann Fendt was enthusiastic about technology and supported him, enabling the construction of a prototype transmission in 1979. This is the only transmission ever built based on this concept. It contains 3 identical hydrostats. Hans Marschall called it Tristat, 3 hydrostats.
And was it actually installed in a tractor?
Yes. First they took this transmission, just as it stands here, and put it on a test bench. They really wanted to know if it could actually achieve a better efficiency than anything that had been tried before. And indeed, the efficiency on the level of a manual transmission was proven. After that was confirmed, the gearbox was installed and tested in a Favorit 6115 in 1985. Hans Marschall and I participated in the comparison drives on the Auerberg. We were actually on par with the manual transmissions. But driving it was, of course, much easier. We didn't have to shift gears or do anything. That was actually the breakthrough that allowed this technology to be further developed.
So in front of us is the only model, the Tristat model, and you could say that was indeed the breakthrough for this technology.
That was the breakthrough. Not immediately, of course. It took a little time, as always with something new, but the doors were open. And when Professor Straub joined Fendt as the head of development, he gladly embraced this idea and created the conditions necessary for it to be further developed towards series production.
That was around the year 87-88, when Fendt's management commissioned and approved the further development to production readiness. This is the first and only example of the Tristat transmission with power split. A valuable model for the Fendt archive.
One more remark about the driving tests. I personally participated in the driving tests, both on the road and in the field. What has stayed with me the most is the noise. The hydraulic transmission was just incredibly loud.
You came up with a lot of ideas during further development to make it less noisy.
One of the major tasks at the very beginning of series development was to eliminate the noise, or at least significantly reduce it.